pages.
Right.
And I'm sure someone at some point is going to point out we could just do that on a computer screen, Ken.
And until it goes blip.
Yeah.
Okay. Dead
Yeah,
air,
exactly.
dead air. Where are we going next? Yeah. Well, I think one of the questions is, so since the invention of cell phones, so how many phone numbers do you have memorized anymore?
No, none.
So, I mean, even people that you call all the time.
Yeah.
Because you just push their
I don't
name.
know any of my kids' phone numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, your daughter, how old is she now?
25.
Wow. Okay. Is she here in town still?
Yep. She's working at Deaconess Hospital in the customer accounts section. And
fun.
Doing great. So
I remember seeing all
the
the political ads and so forth. Thought that was neat that you included her.
All the people that said, I didn't know Todd got remarried. She looks kind of young. It's like, that's my daughter, you sicko.
Yeah, I know.
You sicko.
I know.
It's like, she's 16. Come on.
Well, my youngest is almost 37. So,
Yeah.
I've got 4 kids and then 8 grandkids
Yeah.
from 4 to 17. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
best times in life.
I think my daughter's she's been dating the same guy for
Serious?
8 years. They bought a condo together
Yeah.
in Kendall Yards.
Our mics are on. Do you want to kill those? Yeah.
Welcome to a nourishing midweek lunch hour conversation with Spokane's newsmakers, thought leaders, and popular entertainers. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live.
Hello, welcome to Spokane Talks Live. Kent Adams here today. Hope you're having a good day. It's 76 out there. I'm told it's a little bit smoky, only heading to a high of 80, so we won't have to crank on all of the air conditioners, but I hope it's nice and cool in your office or home. Great lineup today, kind of fun, interesting. In spite of the first guest, no, I'm kidding. I've known Todd for a long time. Todd Mielke, the CEO of Greater Spokane Incorporated, sometimes called GSI, too,
It is.
right?
It
yes.
is.
And we're going to catch up on a lot of things, and we'll talk about what happened last time he was here. Julie Farley from the Makeup Studio. I called Julie a few weeks ago and said, okay, we're going to full HD video here. Some of us need pounds of makeup. So let's talk about that. So she'll be here. And then speaking of entertaining and all of that, we have Frank Tano from the Blue Door Improv. And we'll see if he can keep up with yours truly. Don Morgan from Independent Wealth Connections will be here talking about all kinds of things retirement-wise. Next on Spokane Talks Live.
For the Inland Northwest most comprehensive sports report, think outside the porch with Spokesman.com. For just 99 cents for the first month, you'll enjoy unlimited digital access to the news and sports news that affect you most. From EWU to WSU, from Northwest Preps all the way to the Seahawks, we're the local authority that makes sports in the Inland Northwest different than the rest, better than the rest. On your phone, on your desktop, and on your tablet. Subscribe to the digital experience with Spokesman.com.
I'm Lexi Dyson. I am an archaeological technician for the Tahoe National Forest in California. Archaeology is perfect for me. It kind of combines all of my loves: history, my love of culture, my love of arts and science. As a girl, you don't really get told that science is for you. Like when you look on TV, you always see men in lab coats. I was a freshman at North Central. Randy James was one of my biggest cheerleaders. Randy was one of the first people who told me that you are good at this, you can do this. His favorite phrase that he would say to us that really stuck with me is, Yato, you are the ones. We're the ones who are going to make the difference. We're the ones who are going to make the change. You really start thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, we are. I am the one that's going to do this. The work we're doing in Tahoe definitely is going to be here for good. Our purpose here is to preserve things and to make them last, to be here for good for those future generations to enjoy. I love the variety of it and being able to see things that nobody else really gets to see and having that touch of history and connection to people in the past. I am helping people by preserving their own heritage, their own resources. One of the things I love about STCU is using the STCU mobile app no matter where I go. It could be here in Tahoe National Forest, I could be back home, or it could be clear away across the country. I've been so impressed by their willingness to help and just be there where I need them to be, basically. It gives me a sense of home, even though I could be 3,000 miles away, 6,000 miles away, which I have done with STCU, and I've never looked back. I'm Lexi Dyson, and STCU is here for good.
Everyone, Josh at Rugged Trading Company. We just did a huge liquidation for our friends at Nick's Boots. They had a bunch of overstock of high quality brand new boots. We got Merrill, Danner, Wolverine,
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live, and one of my favorite organizations could be because I worked there way back when it was called the Spokane Area Chamber of Commerce.
That's right.
It was right across the street in those days. You probably remember going there. And
I
so
do.
forth.
George Reidemeyer.
George, he was my boss.
Yes.
And I listened to him intently because he said, Kent, you're going to work here, but you have to give me 2 years of your life, because you'll get other offers and those kinds. I mean, it's a fairly visible job, right?
It is.
So I stayed 2 years and a day.
Okay.
And George came to me that day and went, Can't. I said, 2 years.
2 years.
Okay, you're right. So anyway, those were the good old days.
It still happens.
Yeah,
we
it
still have a
does.
lot of staff that
But
hired
the
away.
chamber is now GSI, has
is.
been for a while. You're down the street from us here a little bit.
We are, 808
And
Riverside.
so much is going on that we're dedicating two sections today
Terrific.
to you and
Terrific.
what's going on. First of all, what's happened since the last time I've seen you, which you were here when we were upstairs in the studio.
That's right.
And you announced that the STEP program was going to be approved by the governor.
Correct.
Yeah.
I literally,
was,
I think
it was fun to beat the big guys in town.
literally 2 minutes before our show started,
yes.
I got a
You got
phone
the
call,
call.
and you kind of know when it's the governor's office, and I said, I need to step out.
Yeah.
And so I think you were the first one to know.
Yes, yeah. And I love to give bad time to some of the others because we beat even the big stations by an hour and 12 minutes, but who's counting?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Todd, what's going on with GSI? Because there have been a lot of really good things going on recently.
Absolutely. So first of all, just a reminder, Greater Spokane Incorporated, we're a merged regional chamber of commerce and economic development entity.
Right.
So we're a regional business development organization.
Okay.
First and foremost, we are all about jobs, protecting the ones that we have and growing those jobs into the future.
Yes.
And we do that by making sure that businesses can be successful in this community and they can compete everywhere.
Right.
There's this concept that says the businesses in Spokane, they compete with everyone, everywhere, every day,
Yes.
forever. And so we're very sensitive to making sure that they can compete in the best way possible and be successful by being based here in Spokane. So we're involved in a little bit of everything. We're involved in not only workforce, one of the most major challenges facing a lot of employers is
Right.
being able to find employees. So we're involved.
And that's
in,
really changed, hasn't it? I've seen some national studies where there are lots of folks unemployed, but they don't have the particular skills
Right.
and experience for what today's jobs are.
That's right.
And things are changing.
Absolutely. And so one of the things, if you're in retail, it's always location, location, location.
Yes.
For everyone else, what we're hearing, no matter what the business, is talent, talent, talent.
Yeah.
And their biggest concern is as the baby boomers are retiring, there's certainly not enough Generation Xers like myself, or even enough millennials to replace the big number of baby boomers that were in the workforce.
Right.
So we're in a
Who had those number of years of experience.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so we're in this hyper-competitive environment with every community across the nation.
Okay.
And the nice thing that people don't realize in Spokane is the fastest growing segment of our workforce right now are 18 to 34-year-olds.
Okay.
And we're growing faster than the national average.
Oh, good.
So that's very attractive to businesses. So we spend a lot of time partnering with the local K through 12 system
Yes.
and the higher education institutions to make sure that our folks have the best skill set and can compete against anyone.
You know what amazes me, because your guys come over to do the Startup Spokane here to
Right.
record. In fact, we're doing another one next week.
Yes.
I am absolutely amazed at these young folks,
Mm-hmm.
the 18 to 34-year-olds that you speak of, and how many are wanting to start their own business, in many cases have and are already successful,
Right.
are getting backers and so forth. Doesn't that just kind of excite you to see that going
It does.
on?
It does. And it reminds us that when we talk about economic development,
Yeah.
it's not just about recruiting businesses from outside the area
Right.
to Spokane. Economic
Because
development.
everybody's doing that.
Right, everybody's doing that, and the issue is everybody's going after the big fish, and they can wait a long, long time
Yeah.
before anything bites. We take a look at it and saying, first of all, when we take a look at economic development, we think of 7 elements.
Okay.
3 are foundational, and we're saying they need to be in place for you to be successful, no matter which industry. And those 3 things are: you have to have a really good workforce
Yes.
available. You have to have the right infrastructure in place so that businesses can expand, they can get product in and out,
Right,
those kinds
right.
of things. They can get their employees in and out. Airport, how many flights do you have going in and
Right,
out of your
right.
airport? And Larry Crowder and his team are doing a great job. And then the third piece of this is business climate,
Yes.
because it is incremental and they are competing with everyone everywhere. And just a little added regulation or a tax here
It doesn't take much,
does have
does
an
it?
impact on their competitiveness.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 foundational ones. The other areas that we look at is we're trying to be involved in startup, helping those people who have an idea but
Yes.
don't know what to do with that idea. We're trying to do our best to help businesses expand
Okay.
in this market. Retain. So recently when LabCorp purchased PAML,
Okay.
we spent a lot of time with
I'll
the CEO
bet.
of LabCorp, and they came to Spokane and talking about what this community has to offer. And they've gone back and are rethinking their strategy in Spokane.
Because they could have yanked an awful lot of
850 jobs could have left Spokane.
Really, that
had
many?
LabCorp decided to purchase PAML and move it to either San Diego or to Seattle.
Okay.
And so we
So
have
are
that
they
dialogue.
seeing the benefit and the cost savings and
Yes.
so forth
Yes.
that they have here compared to, I think out loud, San Diego, where the
Right.
the cost of living.
We gave them
and
those comparisons,
Yeah.
and they go, "Wow!"
Yeah.
But they still have to make sure that it makes sense from their
Of course.
national strategy.
Of course.
So that's the retention, and then the other one is the recruitment. So like I say, startup, expansion, retention, recruitment, and then those foundational ones, which are infrastructure, workforce, and business climate.
And infrastructure, I think of the North-South Freeway and what that's going to mean
Right.
to that part of town, and getting goods and services to Canada and vice versa and so forth. And the business climate, I think, is, in the business side of things, pretty good. I'm not so sure that I would think that when I think of the city council in terms of they're trying to regulate. And I mean, we only have to look at Seattle and what's been said in the last week of moving to $15 an hour and minimum wage, and how that was going to be the answer to everything over there.
Right.
And now it's denied 5,000 jobs. It didn't keep things level, and
That's right.
actually lost the potential of 5,000 jobs.
You're right.
And I'm waiting to hear what some of the response is now, because for a while there it was going to be the answer to everything. And do I want people to make more money? Absolutely. But you can't do that by shutting down a business.
Right.
You know?
That's right. And people need and want the ability to have some choice of where they work.
Yeah.
And so, and like I say, at the end of the line, no business owner goes into business purposely to lose money.
No.
And if they and whether
Why
they
did you
do-
look at me that way when you no.
and the issue is, and anybody that finds himself in that predicament doesn't survive very long.
Yeah.
So we have to build this in where somebody can be profitable.
Right,
And
right.
that means covering all your overhead costs. But no business owner.
Paying the state B&O tax, everything else
That's right.
that goes with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the business owner needs to be able to pay their bills as well and put a roof over their head, food
Oh.
on their table. So
that might happen
what
to
a
me
concept.
later this year.
So we're involved in a lot
Yeah.
of different things. Certainly since the last time we met, there's been a lot going on that have had big impacts and will continue to have impacts.
Let's talk about Fairchild, because
bet.
that's the largest employer
It is
in
largest
the
single,
Spokane area.
Beyond that, it's the largest single site employer in all of Eastern Washington, Northern Idaho, Western Montana, and Northeast
Oh,
Oregon.
just that.
Just that.
Yeah, okay.
So it is 6,000 employees.
Is it that many?
Both
Okay.
active and civilian.
Okay.
And another 4,000 dependents. It is 18,000 retirees within a 100-mile radius.
I forget about that, but you're right.
That's right. And so, and it is about $1.4 billion worth of impact every year. And
Okay.
so for those of us who've been in this community for a long time,
Yeah.
when Kaiser Mead closed,
Yes.
that had a significant impact on our economy.
Right.
We lost a lot of middle-class jobs.
Right.
People felt it as an impact on their property values.
Right.
Because overall the market declined.
And businesses that serve them. And
Correct.
Right.
Fairchild is the equivalent of 5 Kaiser Meats.
Oh, wow.
So if we have a hiccup and for some reason they decide to diminish the activity at the base or close it,
Yeah.
then that will have an everlasting impact. Where it's like, well, how does that impact me as an individual? Well, I may lose 10 to 15% of my value of my home,
Right.
oftentimes the biggest investment we have.
Yes.
Just because of that impact to the overall economic climate here.
Right, which then affects the taxes we pay and everything else, which covers police and fire,
And the
and
services
then the
we get,
insurance that rates go up because the fire protection isn't what it was 2 years ago,
Right.
and everything else. It just keeps rolling, doesn't
Right.
it? Now, since you were in last time, which has been a couple months,
Right.
we've had good news about Fairchild, haven't
Yes.
we?
Yes. So we continue to not only try to protect the jobs that are there,
Yeah.
but grow them. In the military, if you really want to protect the military base, especially an air base like Fairchild, more aircraft means more personnel.
Yes.
Means more investment in infrastructure. Means a reduced chance that they will close it down
Right,
or,
right.
or diminish it.
Right.
So we have been working very hard on just that strategy.
Yeah.
So last fall, we realized we weren't going to get the new tankers. The new tankers, we would have only had a maximum of 36 aircraft
Okay.
at the peak. So when we didn't get that, we decided, well, there's still going to be KC-135s flying for a long, long time, maybe another 30 years plus.
It's amazing
And so,
how long these aircraft.
It'll be 100 years old when it gets to the end of the life. But it's been updated multiple times.
Yeah.
But so we set out to say, well, let's grow and become the biggest tanker base in the Western United States.
Ah,
That
okay.
was our goal. And we started pushing really hard right about the same time the Air Force made its announcement. We were pushing hard in last October with trips to D.C., to the Pentagon, to Scott Air Force Base,
Right.
The headquarters. And at the end of the day, we have gone from roughly 34 aircraft, where we had some transfer over late last fall.
Okay.
In the last month, we got an announcement that our efforts were successful. We partnered with Kathy McMorris Rogers' office and Senator Murray's office to be able to go advocate. And there was an announcement. There's another squadron of 12.
Right.
So at the end, we brush up by the time you look at the active aircraft and the backup aircraft.
Right.
We're pushing right at 60 aircraft.
Wow,
We're
okay.
not just the biggest tanker base in the Western United States. We're now the biggest tanker base in the United States and probably in the free world.
Wow.
And so we'll continue to see those aircraft being transferring in. We'll continue to see the additional staff required to maintain those,
Yes.
the airmen that come in to maintain those. And with that, we're going to see another bump in military construction dollars to accommodate that increased fleet. So, and it ranges.
Well,
30
and you
to
start
$60
thinking about
million.
housing, and you start thinking about restaurants and
Right.
and childcare and the other kinds of things that it then produces. We've
Right.
been real good about supporting the spouses
Yes.
of our airmen and airwomen, haven't we? I mean, we really have here in Spokane.
We have.
Yeah.
We have. One of the things that we need to be conscientious of is a lot of the spouses that come in, they have certifications from other states. They might be certified teachers,
Okay.
dental hygienists,
Yes.
nurses. And one of the things that we need to continue to be vigilant on is making sure that Washington
transferred.
State recognizes those because, as we have a shortage of nurses.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
But
a
you got
potential
people
labor
who
pool.
have the training.
That's right.
But just not the Washington license.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that Washington State is part of the big reciprocal agreements
Yes.
pool
Okay.
to make sure that we recognize
Is that not the
those.
case in some areas?
It's on a case-by-case basis.
Oh,
We're
okay.
not part of the 26-state reciprocal.
So how do we get there? What can we do as a community?
We advocate to our governor. We
Okay.
advocate to our legislature to make sure that that happens.
Okay.
I don't think it takes an act of the legislature, but simply some administrative activity.
Okay.
From the administrative
From
branch.
the bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be able to make sure that we execute those agreements. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And we honestly, I mean, you've been a legislator in the past and so forth. We all know that we live and die by the bureaucrats, not necessarily the elected folks.
That's right.
Isn't that the truth?
Implementation.
Yeah.
It's not so much getting the law passed or not passed. It's what's it look like after it gets
Yeah,
implemented. And
yeah.
sometimes it's
often
very
not like
different.
what you passed.
Very different. Yes, yes.
What else is going on? We've got about 4 minutes left.
You bet. So certainly the other thing with Fairchild is the water issue in the West Plains.
Yes.
That's a critical issue. I think people need to remember that, number one, they're simply a user of a product. This isn't a product they invented or manufacture.
right.
And so just about every airport
And they weren't
across the
trying
nation,
to pollute wells. I mean,
no. Every airport across the nation, whether they're military or commercial, probably use that product at some point.
Yeah.
What's interesting, though, is they actually took action prior to the EPA declaring this as a compound to be careful with. So they actually took action before that.
but it's the residual.
I mean, but all the well testing that was going on was happening because the Air Force was doing it.
Yeah.
The Air Force is the one that called Airway Heights and said, hey, we have an issue.
Yeah.
And the Air Force right now is working to figure out how to mitigate as fast as they can, once again, in a very bureaucratic
we all have accidents.
government agency.
I mean,
Right.
none of us as people are perfect, and sometimes, what we used 20 years ago and we've learned, and sometimes it takes a while to make the change.
That's right.
It just purely does. And,
That's right.
uh,
So they've been trying to step in and find solutions. A lot of the people that were distributing the water were our airmen wearing their uniforms, doing that and stuff. And so we're
Even my
looking for a
son,
quick
who's a
resolution.
civilian firefighter out there, they told them not to wear their firefighter uniforms in town during the height of that, though, because
Okay.
there was some animosity and,
Yes.
and so forth. And then I think things
Right.
got a little cooler. I mean, I understand being frustrated. If you've got water that is declared to be polluted,
Right.
and you've got kids and
You want it
your
fixed.
health and everything else. I
Right.
understand that. And so they just kind of, thought, well, we'll be really super cautious here and
Yes.
not go around and advertising we're firemen. So.
Well, and that's the thing is the EPA just said, this is an advisory. It's not
Yeah.
a declaration that it is
Yeah.
a hazardous chemical. So
Yeah, was it 1 part in how many trillion or something? I mean, it's
770 parts per trillion, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
So yeah. So that's Fairchild. So like I
Okay.
say, got some good stuff going on. Certainly right now, lots of debate with regard to the Affordable Care Act at the federal level.
Yes.
GSI weighed into that a week ago. And
Yes.
so I don't know if we have time for that
yeah,
before the
yes,
break.
please, yes.
And so one of the things that we state is, again, we're a jobs organization. And with the fact that more people have found themselves being insured since this dialogue began a few years ago,
Yeah.
we've added another 5,200 jobs in Spokane
Okay.
who are providing that health care
Okay.
to people.
Okay.
And so we did send out a
And
letter.
healthcare is one of our largest, as an industry, one of our largest employees.
It is the
Really?
largest segment of our economy.
Right.
It's about 1 in every 5 jobs, about 20% of our economy. And so one of the things that we stated is no matter what the Congress finally settles on,
And we all hyper
and it's
about
gonna
what
get
it
bounced-
is. Yeah,
it'll get bounced back and
Oh,
forth.
God,
There'll
yes.
be many iterations, but at the final product, we do want to make sure that it doesn't result in more people not being able to get insurance
Right.
or losing their insurance
right.
because it does have an impact on jobs. For those that say, oh, see, GSI opposes any change, that's not true. It should not be interpreted that way.
Right.
The status quo isn't working either. For those who traditionally get their insurance through their employer, they've continued to see their out-of-pocket deductibles go up. It used to be, I think, in many plans, $1,000
Yeah.
for the individual, $2,500 for the family. That's almost doubled in most.
Yeah.
The monthly contribution the employee makes to the premium, the
Yes.
monthly premium, has gone up tremendously in the last 4 or 5 years. The amount that the employer is paying has gone up tremendously.
I would guess.
Not just due to the mandates, but also to additional regulations. And so the status quo isn't working for the majority of people either.
Yeah.
I mean, I have insurance, but if I need to call and make an appointment to see my doctor to do a checkup, unless I'm have something imminent, it's 3 months.
Yeah.
We can see in October.
Yeah.
If my doctor retires, trying to find another doctor to be
Who will
able
take
to
that
take
insurance
me as a
and-
patient.
Yeah.
And most of them are just saying, I'm sorry, we're not taking new patients
But
right now.
I thought they'd take anyone at the mental health facilities.
Certainly the state hospital. But so those are issues where
Okay.
something needs to be done, and so this rises far beyond Republicans and Democrats.
Right.
So while the
Well,
Democrats,
if we do
may-
nothing, we're going to have a failed system
We
with
will.
the current system.
We will.
Okay, we need to do something. I'm not sure I know what the answer is.
It's
I'm not sure a
complex.
lot of people know what the answer is. But we have a system that's headed for bankruptcy, if you will.
Correct.
In the terms of government,
Correct.
And so we've got to do something. And,
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a big, complex issue. We
Yeah.
may not be able to do it in one piece of legislation. We
I
keep
think you're
thinking
right.
that we can, that it's going to be this omnibus thing. But, there are so many pieces of this that maybe Congress needs to focus
Well,
on
and you
one
do
piece at a
one
time.
thing and it causes a reaction, so you're
Right.
going to have to clean it up no matter what is done.
Right.
There just will be that. We got about 1 minute left here, and then we got to move on to our next guest. So,
Sir.
what else do we need to cover that's going on? You got so many things.
Locally, the big issue is coal and oil trains.
Yes.
We're very concerned that, at the federal level, we have this thing called the Interstate Commerce Act. It's based on the free movement of goods.
Well, we have something called the U.S. Constitution,
which it is founded on the U.S.
Okay.
Constitution, and right now we have a local initiative that attempts to basically add its own regulations
Yes.
to it. We believe it's illegal on its front. We hope that the city won't waste the time to put it on the ballot,
Yeah.
and will because then they're in a position of having to defend it.
Yeah, which means they're going to spend my tax dollars to defend something that is
their
clearly
attorneys, that their attorneys have said is
unconstitutional.
illegal.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping that they will not automatically just put it on the ballot and make the supporters take it to court and prove that it is illegal before we waste people's time
Yeah.
and taxpayer money, going through a campaign and a ballot proposition. In Spokane County, it's about $300,000 every time you put together an election campaign.
Oh, Lord.
And that's just the process
To
of
run
putting the ballot
election.
out.
Yeah.
Just to run the election. And so the issue is, if it's illegal, before you even go into that debate, why are we spending the money to do that?
yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. And so, again, we believe the Interstate Commerce Act is there to make our businesses prosperous, that we
Yes.
can move our products around this nation.
Well, you think about apples and wheat and everything else. This could potentially provide disaster
Right.
for our industry in this area.
We are the primary east-west rail
Yeah.
line in the northern United States. We are the #1 state for import and export.
Yeah.
70% of the products that come into Washington State move beyond our borders, so they're going to other states.
Right.
And if we have one community along that rail line that says, nope, not coming through here, it disrupts our entire commerce system.
Well, next week on our live program, I got somebody calling in that are going to talk about this.
Good.
And it's an important issue, and we've covered it a couple times with Ozzy in the sheriff's report as well.
Great.
So,
Great.
wow, Todd, you got to come back more than once every 3 months.
We'll do that.
Okay,
We'll
because
do
there's
that.
so much going on, and I'm so pleased to see all the positive things, because when it comes down to it, we can talk about all the social services and all the other issues that we have. But if we don't have a strong business community,
Right.
we don't have a lot of the other things that make Spokane great.
Right.
So,
There's a lot of exciting stuff
yeah.
going on.
Thank
So
you
I'll
very
look forward
much.
to
Good
the
to
next
see
time.
you.
All right.
Again, we'll have you back. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Julie Farley from the Makeup Studio right after this.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer, and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. Enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org. Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live. Still 76 degrees outside. It's a beautiful day. A little smoky still. Hey, let me give a little backstory here. We're moving in to do more and more video in high def here. And as we move into that, some of us need to look a little better than our 71 years, okay? and some of us have paid for growing up in Southern California, where we've had a couple of skin cancers taken off, and plus just being 71. But we have guests that come in, and sometimes they've stood outside and it's warm or it's been raining or whatever it may be. And so I called my friend Julie Farley from the Makeup Studio. I got it right.
That's what it's called.
Yes, and you have helped a number of movies, plays, people that are going to be in front of groups and so forth. Give us a little background on what you do other than just making us look half presentable.
Well, so I do a lot of consulting with the TV stations. So,
Okay.
The HD thing has been, going on.
It's a whole nother world,
It is
isn't
a
it?
whole nother world, but it's actually not a bad thing. It's actually, it's nice to see real skin. And
Yeah.
so it hasn't really changed that much, but, it just basically shows everything on the face. So we consult a lot with the TV stations
Okay.
and whatnot. But what we do, a lot of the services that we do at the makeup studio is we do lessons. We work with women individually,
Okay.
whether it is a TV personality or somebody, one of our customers that wants to learn how to do makeup, look flawless with the least amount of makeup.
Right.
So it's different
Because a lot of people are in front of doing presentations and so forth today,
That's correct.
right?
Well,
and they have cameras on them and a big screen behind them.
Well, that's true, but we can do their makeup for that.
Yeah.
So they can certainly come in for that application. But we like to teach women, and what's unique about what we do is they bring their own products, their own brushes.
Okay.
It's not like going into a department store where they're feeling pressure.
spend $1,000 to
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you're going to spend $1,000, spend it at a local business, right? No,
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But they come in and they bring all of their brushes and products, and we'll kind of work through that with them.
Okay.
What are the best products? A little tough love.
Yes. Yes.
Don't you, if you're 50, don't use something that looks good on a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Let's be real. So we like to really, help them out as far as looking flawless, covering up those brown spots from sun exposure that we
Right.
all got, early on, showing them, the newest tricks of the trade, the best products that are out there, and show them how to do the color corrective beauty, whether it be under eye circles or,
Okay.
sunspots, and just kind of give them a great look that they can do themselves that, that's not super.
It kind of cleans them up a bit,
It
if
kind
you
of
will.
cleans them
Right.
up a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of take the rough edges off. And, a lot of women went to the Clinique counter when they were 20 years old, and now they're 50.
Yeah.
And it's not working anymore.
So now you keep saying women. What about us old guys?
Well,
Are we hopeless?
No, but I mean, that's where the, a lot of the TV personalities, that was the big thing is when HD came out, it was like, okay, we all have to do the airbrush makeup.
Right.
And it's not necessarily the case anymore. There's a lot of products out there that you can use. And so if I was helping out your guests,
Right.
a little bit of powder,
Yeah.
maybe a little.
Take off the shine.
Take off the shine, a little bit of anti-shine.
Right.
Some really natural things, maybe a little bit of colored powder, but, just something that you can, maybe a little, we get you fixed up with a little box of products that they could go into the bathroom
Right.
and use.
Yeah, we purposely in our little what we call green room where the water and coffee is and so
good.
forth. I don't know if you've even been in there yet, but,
I haven't.
but
I
we
haven't.
have
I'll
a
have to
mirror in there because we have ladies especially who will come in, and if they've walked a block or so in the winter, especially with the wind and so forth, they want to kind of adjust things and
Absolutely.
and kind of look. I don't. I just give up. And, well, my hair is how I combed it this morning at
and
7 o'clock,
And most people, I think, that are going to be on the show, they're going to kind of already have, had their hair cut and, look good. But like when I do makeup up at Channel 7 for a lot of the shows,
Yes.
We're just taking a little bit of rough edges off the men
yeah.
and a little powder.
Yeah,
so.
because we tend, if we see blemishes or see something wrong, we tend to focus on that. So if you kind of smooth things over a bit, then you don't really concentrate on whether they have makeup or not. You listen and you watch.
That's
Which
right.
is what you want people to do, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what is the typical person that comes in to see you? What are they? You obviously have a staff that helps you as well.
I do. A huge part of our business is bridal makeup.
Okay.
We do a lot of bridal makeup.
Okay.
We're in the thick of bridal season right
Oh,
now.
yes.
Oh, yes. So we can accommodate the whole bridal party, not just the bride.
Ah, okay. So you go out to do that?
They
or do
come to us.
okay.
We are a little bit different. We actually don't go on location because we do multiple bridal parties in a day.
Okay.
We have a pretty great setup with studio lights.
You've
and
got
great
everything
lighting.
there, too.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's just awesome, and they can bring their hair person there if they want
Okay,
to.
right.
So we do a lot of bridal makeup, and then like yesterday, I did a little teen lesson, a makeup lesson on a young girl that was 13 years old.
Okay.
You know, so when mothers want them to start, you know, they want to wear makeup.
But not 6 layers of
No.
lipstick, right?
And now with all those vloggers and those YouTubers, you know, they're
yeah.
getting some really bad information. So they bring them to me, and we'll kind of get them started out with a good skincare routine and, you know, light makeup. We do just, you know, the regular lessons like I was telling you. And then,
Right.
you know, if women want to be pampered, they're going to a special event, they can come in and have the full meal deal.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah, our typical day is pretty busy.
Yeah.
And we sell makeup. We actually sell products where
Okay.
we sell makeup and skincare products.
Okay, and you're going to help us tell us what we need
Absolutely.
here too, right?
Yeah.
Which I know the story. Years ago, I was doing a program called Let's Talk Spokane. We bought time on KXOY, and I was over taping at Melissa Murphy at Prime.
Right.
And so
Beautiful woman.
Yes. Well, my director said, come 20 minutes early so we can clean you up, you know,
Right,
and do
right.
the makeup. And they did that. And then she comes down from the stairs to where we're going to shoot. And the makeup person goes over and goes like this on her hair and said, you're set. So they spent 20 minutes on me and nothing on her. And I'm going, quit laughing over there. That's so true, though, because she, to start with, knew what to do.
Knew what to do.
Yeah,
And to do the
on a daily basis.
Right. And to do the unmade up look sometimes
Yeah.
takes a little bit more skill.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I
So
wouldn't
what
think
would
it
you
take 20
recommend for
minutes.
me other than give it up, can't do radio?
No, I don't. You know, you have really great skin. I think that you maybe just need a little anti-shine. It's a product
Yeah.
that it's like a gel.
Okay.
And so when you apply it, especially on the forehead and
Right.
on the nose, it just kind of mats everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you can just go from there with some clear powder. So the days of putting heavy pancake powder makeup, we don't need that anymore. I think you can get a lot from that. But
All right,
I don't-
great.
I don't see a lot of.
All right, so how
benefits.
can people get in touch with you because they'll want to use your service?
So we're located right downtown across from the Grand Hotel,
Yes.
216 North Bernard,
Okay.
right next to FedEx, you know.
Yes, yes.
Right next to the Spokane Public School
Right.
admin building. We're in the Frucci building,
Okay,
street level.
right in there between everybody.
Right, then go to our website, which is themakeupstudio.net.
Okay.
And then they can call us at 509-455-7430. And we're on social media, Instagram,
Oh,
Facebook.
we all have to be,
I
don't
don't
we?
do Twitter. Twitter does well for the nonprofit that I run, and that's another show.
Okay, yes. Will you come back and talk about that?
Project Beauty Share,
Yes,
yes.
with Marianne Bornoff and others.
Yes, we're getting ready to go national, and so we
fun.
have had a lot
Let's
of
have you
exciting
back
things.
and talk about that, okay?
Okay,
Because
great.
that would be fun
Awesome.
to do.
Would love to.
Julie, thank you. Good
Thank
to
you.
see you
Yes,
again,
yes,
and
yes, we'll
best
get
of
you
luck.
fixed up.
And give Julie a call, even if you're a guy. You might get some hints, okay? We're
Absolutely.
going to take a quick break, and we'll be talking with Frank of the Blue Door Improv. We'll see if he can keep up with me. Right back.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. Enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
To find the right home for you, you'll work with your realtor to compare the properties you're interested in, analyze the market, and figure out a reasonable offer price. And now, here you are, ready to make an offer. Yay, you! Here's how it works. First, you'll complete an offer sheet, which your realtor will then present to the...
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live. I have Frank Tano? Tano,
Yes.
okay. Not like Tonto?
No,
Without the
no,
T.
but I
Okay.
got that a lot in elementary school.
Well, I got Clark Kent. Okay, so we have those burdens to carry in life, right? Blue Door Improv. Okay, we were talking during the commercial break, and I said, I've heard about you several times, meaning the Blue Door. I think I might know where you are. I guessed right, in the Garland district. That's the extent of it. So tell me what it is you improv. I can guess a little bit about that. But, I mean, where are you? What's the cost? What do you guys do? Give us the background, because this sounds interesting.
Yes. All right. So the Blue Door Theater is a 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay, good.
And we are dedicated to the advancement of entertainment and improv,
Okay.
The performing arts and improv through education and entertainment.
And improv can be really challenging.
Improv can be challenging, yes. And for people who do not know what improv is, basically we get suggestions from the audience.
Okay.
And then we make up what are effectively skits on the spot. Some people are familiar with the show Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yes,
That is improv. That is short form improv.
Right.
And there's also long form improv that we do as well. And that is more narrative. Think more improvised play.
Okay.
But that also is sort of misleading because some long form isn't quite like a play that you're familiar with. This is theater at its most raw.
Yeah, no
effectively.
kidding.
So we have approximately 40 volunteers. That includes performers and our logistics and house
Okay,
staff.
okay.
And every Friday and Saturday night we do shows.
Okay.
On the first Friday and first Saturday, and the last Friday and last Saturday we also do a 10 o'clock show. So we've got two shows, double features basically at the end.
How
and the
many
beginning
can you
of the month.
seat in this facility?
We seat approximately 69 in our chairs.
Okay.
We can flex that to a little larger with some folding chairs, or
Okay.
less if we need to accommodate
That's a
some
pretty good
accessible
sized little
seating.
group.
Yes.
And if you're doing the improv where you're getting suggestions, that really makes it intimate.
A
and
more
everybody-
intimate space
Yeah.
is more conducive
Yeah.
to what we need to do.
Yeah.
So that is what we do, and it's great. It's affordable. It's $7 a show on our double feature.
Wait,
Yes.
$7?
$7 for a show that
You
runs.
can't buy a Big
approximately-
Mac for $7.
Yeah, it's for approximately an hour and 10-minute show,
Wow.
give or take 5 minutes.
Now, if people go, I don't know that I really want to be involved. I just kind of want to watch. Can they do that too, though?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When we ask for suggestions, people shout them out. You don't have to
Okay,
do that.
okay.
Sometimes our shows require an audience volunteer.
Okay.
And that's strictly
you don't
a
say you're
volunteer.
coming, like it or
no,
not.
No.
Okay.
What will happen often is someone who comes with a friend will point at their friend, like,
Of
take this
course.
person.
That's why you bring a
Yes.
friend.
And then our rule is if you volunteer someone else, you've volunteered yourself. So
that seems only fair.
Yes.
You know, I've told the story a couple times back in high school. My counselor called me in. Oh, Lord, Kent, you're going to take a public speaking course, which I understand is one of the scariest things that we can ever do.
That's
is
what they
public
say, yeah.
Yeah. And so I did it, and my first time was an improv, whatever it is I wanted to talk about, that sort of thing. And I talked about something that I knew about, which was hypnosis. I had practiced the summer before and all of that. And when I started to realize I had the other students in my hand because they were really interested, it actually became a lot of fun. And I went from never wanting to be the center of any attention at all. You know, I was the last one. You know, I put my arm up, but not so the teacher could see it, you know, kind of thing, to not feeling so bad about that. And so do you find people coming in saying, I want to learn more about myself by doing some improv?
Yeah, we offer, as I said up front, we offer education.
Okay.
So we do both teen classes for 11 to 18, and then we do adult classes as well,
Okay.
18 on
And
up.
what do those cost?
Those, it varies.
Okay.
Our adult class runs 6 weeks typically, and that is $125, I believe.
For once a week?
For the whole 6 weeks.
Okay,
Just
okay.
$125. Boom,
Okay,
done.
great.
And then our youth classes, it's a 10-week course with basically what amounts to a private show for their family, a recital, if you will.
Okay.
And that's $150.
Wow.
And then we do monthly teen workshops. We have our jam series, which is basically anybody can come to that. It's free, and you just go there and just try improv for free for a night.
Oh, wow.
So that is something else that we have.
They can learn so much about themselves, can't they?
Yes, but in
and
our
a place to fail too.
Absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely. It
isn't
is
that
a
part of
safe
life?
place to experiment and
Yeah.
fail. And our to get back to your question, our beginning adult class, we get a lot of people who are like, I just want to learn to be more comfortable speaking.
Yes.
I want to learn to be more spontaneous. Yeah. I'm in Toastmasters and I want to master my craft more, so I'm taking improv, that kind of thing.
Well, and we're all, there's this whole push about working as a team and everything else, and to kind of get out of your skin a little bit and feel comfortable to work with a group of peers. And to me, speaking to your peers is worse than speaking to people you don't know. It's just because they know you, and that they can be critical of you, or they're in the same industry as you, and so forth. I got to ask, you have kids, what's like youngest kids coming in, 10, 12?
For classes?
Yes.
11. That
11.
is our cutoff there, 11, yes.
So what do they walk out with after a few weeks? What?
It depends. Again, this is a very personal craft.
Yeah.
So it affects everybody in a different way. But more often than not, you get more confidence.
Yes.
They can leave with more confidence. They leave realizing that they can create amazing things.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned teamwork. Improv is all about teamwork. I
Yes.
couldn't do a show if my team on stage didn't support me.
Yeah.
Even if I'm doing solo improv,
Right.
I wouldn't be able to do that if the audience wasn't supporting me.
Right.
So the kids realize, and adults as well, like, oh my gosh, I can say something and someone will accept it instead of batting it down, saying, no, not that.
And we tend to do that to people
We
sometimes,
do.
don't
The older we get, the more we do it.
Yeah. Wow, this is really exciting. Where do the people come from? All over Spokane, mainly in the city of Spokane?
Our troop or audience?
Both. I would guess the audience.
I guess the answer, why did I ask? All over.
Okay.
Some of our troop members come all the way from Idaho.
Okay.
All the way. It's like a 30-minute drive. It's not all
Yeah,
the way.
I
But
know,
yeah, come from Idaho. We have people who make a yearly trip from Montana to visit us.
Really?
If people have overseas folk who are visiting
Yes.
town, they bring them to our show. Improv is amazing in that if you go to every troop, it is a collective of people who would never have socialized if it wasn't for this one thing.
So you get a really cross-section of people,
Absolutely,
don't you?
absolutely. And that makes our scene work that much better because we have so much more to draw from.
Yeah. So I want to volunteer. I want to come in. I want to be in a show. What do I need to do?
Depends on what you're volunteering or needing to do. Like if you want to come to a show, it's every Friday and Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
Well, I want to be in the improv thing. What would I need to take? I don't mean me
Oh,
personally.
okay,
But,
yes.
okay.
The track to being on the stage.
Yes.
That is what
How do
we're
I
after.
get there?
All right. Immediately, you could just start going to jams on Monday nights, 7 to 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And that gets you is this
to
for
know
me?
the people,
Is this it? Yeah, exactly.
practice,
There's a Blue Door Theater facilitator on site to help with the jams. Take our adult classes. Those, I think the next series is coming up in September.
Okay.
Take those. And then twice a year, we have auditions.
Okay.
And you just show up, and the auditions effectively run. We have a series of short form games.
Okay.
And what's great about those short form games is they all focus on a particular skill. So we're looking for skills.
Sure.
We're looking for how you work with other people.
Right.
And then after those auditions,
Yeah, because you need to be able to carry yourself and work with others.
Yes.
What's that back in
we're
kindergarten?
looking-
Works well with others. You know?
we're looking for stage presence. We're looking
Yeah.
for charisma, but we're also looking for that cooperative nature because we
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah. And how much of it is, I'm going to do something and you need to read my mind so you know where I'm going? Or are you just totally watching the visual and the audio? Or
There is an advantage if you've worked with someone for a long
Okay.
time, creating that. That's why we practice every week, because it gets us used to being with
Okay.
each other. There's a piece of that.
It's kind of like my producer in there will roll his eyes because he knows I'm going to do a pun.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh, I love puns.
Yeah.
But then a lot of it though is, I'm gonna remove a curtain, all that fortune telling stuff. A lot of it is reading in the moment.
Okay.
How did I just say this thing? Why does Joe look like he's looking sad? He must be sad. Why is his character sad?
Okay.
I'll give him that reason why the character is sad. I'm sorry, Joe, we had to cancel your birthday. Now
Yeah,
Joe
yeah.
knows that's why I'm sad, is my birthday got canceled. And then he can
He may
think
not
about
have known why he was
No,
sad.
exactly,
But yeah.
exactly.
But, wow, that's really working together, isn't it?
It is.
Because we're so used to seeing on stage people following a script on TV, whether it's news or anything else. It's basically all scripted except for the, what do they call reality, which is still scripted. We know that. But I mean, where you walk in, you hit your mark, and you say, you give the look or whatever. There is none of that. You rely on your ability and your cohorts there, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And so, what was the worst time for you?
The worst
Yeah,
time.
there's always got to be a time that you,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this isn't going where it should be, or it's not.
Oh gosh,
You're going to tell me that's never happened.
No, it has. I'm just trying to figure out. I think the worst time would be a show that we couldn't quite master, and it was a show called Odyssey, and we were trying to basically, one player got removed from the audience, removed from the stage. They had to come up with a character, and then we had to ask the audience, by the end of this show, what do they need to do? So like one thing was like, they have to put on a puppet show. Like, okay, great. So that person comes in. So we are trying to get this person specifically put on a specific type of puppet show for the show wasn't a puppet show one, but it was that format, and it was just so long, and the
didn't work.
It
like
wasn't working. The reading wasn't there for that particular night. And so it was like, so that was a moment where like, oh, this is not working. Ooh, we'll have to rethink this one.
But we all have those days, don't we?
do.
I mean, life treats us that way.
Yeah.
You know, we can start out great in the morning, and then something just doesn't go right. And welcome to life. And it's how we react to that, I think, and make something of it. So this sounds like really fun. I'm going to have to come and watch.
Yeah, every show is unique.
And I'll have to think of something really unique to throw up when I see you up there. Okay?
But that's just beautiful. You don't even have to try that hard. Even the simplest thing, like, turnip will turn into who knows what. And by the end of that scene, we've sold a baby. So.
Okay. Well, Frank, thank you. Remind folks about where it is, how they can get tickets. The price at $7 is nothing, okay? And so bringing kids to these performances?
Yes.
Okay.
So our Friday night shows at 8 p.m. are for a general audience, with the exception of this coming Friday, because it is our cage match improv competition, so that has some mature content. But typically, Friday nights, 8 o'clock, general audience. All our other shows, mature content. We're in the Garland District, 815 West Garland. Our BlueDoorTheater.com is our website.
Okay.
You can make reservations right there.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, and a lot of people ask, can I buy tickets online? Not yet, but if you make a reservation, that is as good as buying a ticket online. You just come and pay for your seat there.
All right. Thank you for coming. This is great. This is fun. I love how we're growing up in Spokane and offering so much in the arts.
Yeah, we've been here for 20 years.
Yeah. But now we're starting to hear more about it. I mean, sometimes it just takes a while. And we had some rough economic times, too, that affected everybody. And now I think things are coming back, and this is great. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Don Morgan and Independent Wealth Connections right after this.
Today, I will spark an idea.
Today, I'll help a student uncover the mysteries of DNA.
Today, I will nurture creativity.
Today, I'll help someone figure it out.
Today, I will protect our future by digging into the past.
Today, I will build a business that makes learning fun.
How will the future look?
What will we discover?
Invent.
Create.
Will we find ways to revive our planet?
Develop meaningful, high-paying jobs.
When most of those jobs don't even exist yet.
It'll happen because
We'll be the ones who invent those jobs.
It starts with better skills in math and science.
Engineering.
Technology.
and the arts.
It takes a willingness to try.
And fail.
And try again.
Because great things never happen on the first try.
Some communities are defined by geography.
Ours is defined by a vision.
That encourages everyone
To develop a passion for learning.
It happens when high school freshmen learn college-level science.
When a teacher learns robotics.
When ideas are sparked with play.
By providing the tools to tinker.
And the space to create.
And our future gets better when we learn from our past.
I'm Randy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Brooke.
I'm Lexi.
She's Barb.
He's Marty.
We're all connected by a credit union.
That's invested in our community
For over 80 years.
Supporting teaching, learning,
And creating.
To make sure your future
and mine.
Are here for good.
SDCU, here for good.
Snoring can disrupt marriages and cause serious health problems. Call Sleep Better Northwest first, the experts in dental sleep medicine. Their medically approved, custom-fit oral appliances will have both you and your partner sleeping better and being more productive throughout your day. Don't wait. Snoring and sleep apnea can signal potential strokes or heart attacks. For more information, visit needbettersleepnow.com and download our health guide today. Sleep Better Northwest, the experts in dental sleep medicine.
Welcome back to Spokane Talks Live. Hey, Kevin, what's our temperature outside?
You in charge of temperature now?
Is 77? All right, you brought it up 1 degree. We can tell the bird to get off the thermometer outside now. Okay.
Well, and tell him to put the cigarette out. It is smoky out there.
Is it? That's what I heard earlier. Yeah.
I was wondering why I was getting the scratchiness in my throat. It's
just age.
Well, there is that, Kent. You would know.
Yeah. You're not going to use that when dinosaurs were alive, Kent, are you, today?
I'm getting it used on me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I sent that to somebody this morning, and I said, no, it wasn't when dinosaurs were alive. And I was talking about me, of course. Hey, before we talk, Don, I want to mention that the city of Spokane put out a media release the other day, actually yesterday, to remind folks that fireworks are illegal in Spokane, Spokane Valley, Cheney, Millwood, Liberty, and then all the unincorporated areas of Spokane County, which means pretty much all of us.
Did they mention that little tiny city outside of the air base?
Airway Heights? No, I don't think so.
I'll bet it's legal there then.
Yeah, probably is. And down toward the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene Tribe and all that. It's only a $536 fine per incident. So,
you know, if they could actually collect from everyone that's going to set fireworks off on the 4th of July, the budget would be balanced for the decade.
Yeah, the thing is, I was looking at, and I don't want to get into all the details, but the number of fires before they instituted this 20 years ago,
right,
and the number of fires on average per year since, a big reduction. And as a father of a son who's a firefighter out of Fairchild, you know, it's just one more chance of some firefighter going into a burning building, and think about the loss of the facility, perhaps lives, and all the turmoil from that. So be careful. We're all tempted. We all want to celebrate.
So you go over to Idaho.
Independence Day. And by the way, one of my pet peeves is it's Independence Day on Tuesday. We celebrate it on July 4th. The holiday is not July 4th. It's Independence Day.
That's right.
And so anyway, as a couple relatives who were involved in independence way back when, before my time, I just
this isn't what I heard.
Yeah. So anyway, hey,
but no, that's and the other thing I'd point out, it's not just fewer fires because of that.
Right.
We've gotten better and better at being safer and safer in a lot of ways.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
So, and safety is really the subject of today's conversation.
Okay.
So there's different ways to invest your money.
Right.
And as we get older,
yeah, he looks at me.
Well, the gray hair's a tip.
Yeah. I gray it every week to look distinguished, Don.
It's working.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'm not sure that.
Careful.
Well,
get back to safety.
So stepping away from the abyss, the age of someone who's investing is one of the things that professionals like me use to determine their risk tolerance. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be an aggressive investor at age 80. You can.
Right.
Most people aren't.
Right.
But there are exceptions.
If you've got enough.
If you've got, and that's actually one of the criteria.
Right.
So, you know, somebody once asked me, what do really rich people buy? And I said, everything.
Yeah.
They'll buy a little of this and a little of that and a little bit of it. But there's just, if you have no limits, there's no limits.
Right.
Most of us have limits.
Yes.
And for most people, part of their money needs to be safe.
Yes.
And so we think of bank savings accounts or CDs.
Or money market or
right.
Some of the basics.
And what happens, though, over time is interest rates go up and down and up and down. And when they go down, if you're living off that interest, your income goes down.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
and we saw that
a
few years ago. Yes.
Yeah. I could tell story after story about that. But the reality is the insurance industry has for years offered very safe investments.
Okay.
And I get a kick. I read articles and see the news, and
you can read.
I can. Sometimes I have other people read for me.
Okay.
But there's these people that run around saying, I hate annuities. That's like a carpenter saying, I hate 2x4s. Annuities are tools. And they come
you can choose to use them or not.
That's right. And if you're going to use them, you ought to know what kind you're going to use. So there's two broad kinds.
Okay.
One we're not talking about today that's called a variable annuity. Okay. And it can go up and down with the markets, and you can lose money.
Okay.
With a fixed annuity, if you hold it to maturity,
you're going to be guaranteed X amount.
And the principal never goes down in a fixed, and it's fixed. The principal's fixed.
Right.
Now, they're insurance company contracts, so you got to look at the quality of the insurance company. And if the insurance company is having troubles, that might cause you some grief.
Yes.
But historically, no one's ever lost principal in a fixed annuity contract that I've ever heard of if they hold it to maturity. Even if the insurance company fails, they typically get transferred to another insurance company.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know.
Well, in their original design, way back when it was being chiseled onto stone, you got paid an interest rate.
Right.
Well, when interest rates go down, the interest rates go down.
The payment amount goes down.
So the insurance industry came up with a structure called fixed, meaning safe, indexed annuities. So the interest paid relates to an index.
Right.
Often a popular stock index, but I've seen them, some real off-the-wall indexes. I've seen commodity-based indexes.
Sure.
I've seen gold indexes. So there's a index flavor for almost anyone. They've also, over the years, complicated it. So there's different ways that they calculate the crediting, and it gets complex enough. What I recommend to people is you think it through and you listen to the person selling it to you, and if you don't understand it, don't buy it.
Yeah. It's always the safe choice, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if the salesman can't explain it to you well enough for you to be able to explain it to your mom,
why invest?
Why
take a chance?
Right. So we work really hard to try and make the more complicated ones simple.
Okay.
But there's some out there that I just won't sell because they're too complicated. I have trouble explaining them.
Yeah.
So there's
and what's your client going to say 10 years from now when they're asking?
Right.
Yeah.
But here's what I see broadly. Because they say index in them, some people think they're substitutes for the stock market. They're not.
Okay.
These are safe investments. So they're not going to ever get gigantic over-the-top returns.
Right.
If it ever does happen, it's an anomaly.
Okay.
Normally you get good, safe returns. So we're not talking double digits. We're talking 3%, 4%, that kind of, maybe 5% or 6%, but not grotesquely high numbers.
Right.
And the return, the interest rate's not guaranteed.
Okay, right.
That's based on the index.
Yes.
The principal's guaranteed.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So it's one of the many, many options out there. If you're seriously interested in the subject, go to my website, independentwealthconnections.com. Call me at 931-1088. We'll go through. And by the way, they change every month. The interest rates change.
Yes.
The offerings change.
Right.
And every year they come out with new bells and whistles.
Okay. All right. Thank you,
All
Don.
makes sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
Okay.
Which worries me that I could understand that.
Then I did a poor job of explaining.
I know. Don, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Enjoy Independence Day on July 4th. Have a great week, everybody.
Spokane Talks Live is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Online LLC.